Good evening and welcome to the West Yorkshire Football Show. It is a Town Talk special. And Steve's headline this week is Terriers losing Wales in close encounter. So thank you very much, Steve, for the headline. Steve, how are you, my friend? Are we had a decent week? Are we ready for the upcoming one?
Well, to be honest, mate, I've been working a work event this weekend, so it's been a rather busy weekend, and I've only just got in the house about half an hour ago. Put some stew down my neck, and then come on here with you. So, as in terms of being ready for this podcast, it definitely encompasses the word live and ready.
You are my hero, Steve. You are my hero. Did you have a fresh cut for your work weekend? It looks like you might have done.
A fresh cut? No, I haven't actually. It's just wet hair from being in the shower for about 10 seconds.
Yeah. And Cal, nice to have you from the start. I hope you're well, my friend. Do you have a
Very
nice?
Well, attended Manchester Christmas markets today.
Yes, just about to ask how you enjoyed that. A couple of hot chocolates and a big sausage.
Couple of hot chocolates, a big sausage, and some Hong Kong French toast. If you don't know, get to know. It's the future.
You didn't have mulled wine then?
No, driving.
You see, I hate mulled wine. I bet Kane loves mulled wine.
I'm an athlete, mate. I don't drink. No alcohol. Absolute athlete. Okay, gents. Couple of games to go through. We've currently had no comments at the moment. A little bit disappointed. So let's get your comments in. Where we're listening from. Who's listening this evening? It's always good to have them in there. Always like to make. We always like to know what your thoughts are on the recent games. Okay, Town had 2. First of all, Lincoln away. Lincoln 0. Huddersfield Town 2. Into the final round of 16. Cal, what did we make of that one?
I didn't watch in full. I watched in parts, but what I saw, I quite liked. I saw some good playing spells. I thought we were quite lackluster in other parts, but they gave us great respect in terms of allowing us to run into the space and create the moments. And you know, you've got to be around the goal to score the goal. So fair play. We got into the positions well and took the goals when we needed to, got the job done effectively and got out of there. So good enough without being special.
And it was a fairly strong lineup as well, Cal. We started with Lee Nichols in goal, Sorensen, Ruin left back, Wallace Lowe, and in the midfield was David Kusumu, Marcus Harness, Wiles and Ashia, the 2 wider players, Alfie May and Joe Taylor. So Town went for this. Clearly, it's a competition that Town should be going to looking to get to that final. They want to go and win that. And I think from my point of view, Cal, would you agree, Steve? We're going to come to you as well. That lineup said, yeah, we want to go and win this.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'd have been a very different lineup if we were top of the tree in the league. I think it's a lineup that says we're going to put effort into this competition. Good. You know, there's a chance of getting through. We've done all right. Go for it. But at the same time, if that comes at the expense of a good performance in the league, which based on the evidence of the game after this, it may do, it was the lineup of a manager that knows that every game is vital to the momentum of the side that he's trying to build.
Steve, what do you make of the midweek fixture, that away cup tie? Okay, we know what your thoughts are on most away sides in this cup anyway. But let focus on Huddersfield. It's a victory, and it's something that Town can get confidence from.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've always seen this competition as a confidence booster for lads that might not be in form. We saw that obviously in the last couple of games with Charles getting goals and such. So for me, it's a confidence booster. It's also a chance for injured lads like Murray Wallace to come back and get vital minutes that then could transfer into being important players for the league. I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with Cal when he says we've seen a very different side if we were top of the league. I think we have genuinely got a strong squad across the board. However, they haven't been performing to the level that we've all expected all season. Now, I thought the Lincoln game was okay. I agree.
So when I said that, I more meant that you'd have seen more rotation if we were top of the table
Well,
because you'd look to rest players for the league.
yeah. No, I accept your point now. Don't come at me, mate.
No,
Yeah.
I thought you'd got me mixed up, mate. Sorry.
No,
Let's not forget, Steve, as well, and Cal. In the other rounds, we've seen Jay Sway, Dan Voss start these games, especially Dan Voss, and that's not something that we had this week. We had Asher in there, but let's not forget he also started his first league game of his career, coming up to that as well. So he's now kind of cementing himself as a first-team player. The other two players that we just mentioned, and as of yet, but we have seen them in this competition. So again, Steve, I do think that shows that, Town are looking to go for it.
Yeah, and listen, there's reports that have come out this weekend saying that there are numerous championship sides looking at Jace Way and might try and prize him away from the club. So they're good talents. I mean, I really like Dan Voss. He's a good midfield player, and I think he'll become a key component in Town's midfield going forward over the next couple of years. But listen, the performance at Lincoln was fine. Though Asher was a real pain in the backside for Lincoln on that left-hand side. It was a game where they made 9 changes, we made 9 changes. So it wasn't like the slick football that we'd necessarily seen in the Mansfield game on the Plymouth game. But we got a win. We're through to the next round, and we go into a delightful tie against Rotherham United in a cold Tuesday, January. Yeah, so it was fine. It was fine. It was a good win, and it was nice because I can come on here and give Chris Bell some absolute torment. Who's a Lincoln City fan? For those Town fans that aren't aware, he normally presents the Monday night show with us. So tomorrow will be delightful, boys, when I get stuck into him.
Funnily enough, Steve, we've got a couple of comments in from Chris. We've got, well done on beating Lincoln B team. It won't be the same on New Year's Day, lads. Don't get carried away. He did also say, joking aside, you look solid. Nichols said that Marino from Draper's close range effort was huge. And then Town go on to score pretty soon after kickoff. And didn't really, I thought it was Town maybe just had the edge of it. Obviously, Cal, I know you didn't see too much of it, so I'm going to go back to Steve on this one. But did you ever, respectful towards what Chris is saying as well, that's nice to see. Look, joking aside, thought Town was solid, even though he's a supporter of the opposition. Did you ever feel as if Lincoln might have got back into it, especially in that second half, or did you think it was just going to be Town to go on and get that result?
No, it wasn't comfortable. I don't think we didn't totally dominate the fixture, and Lincoln did have the chances. Chris is correct that the save that Nichols made was absolutely vital, really, to get the win, because at that moment they were starting to get a little bit on top, Lincoln. But it was a bit of a stop-start game. I didn't think the referee had a very good game, if I'm being honest. That probably helped Town in sort of the end, really, because the game became a bit bitty in the second half. So yeah, it was a very scrappy affair. It was two sides that had clearly made a lot of changes that meant that it wasn't free-flowing football, like I've said. And so you probably didn't see the best of Town and didn't see the best of Lincoln. And you have to remember, listen, Lincoln are above us in the league and are doing great stuff at the moment with their manager. So it was I would say it's the toughest tie we've had so far. And it'll be interesting to see how tough the tie against Rotherham will be in January compared to that Lincoln game.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be. And great to see Joe Taylor scoring. Murray Wallick's back in the side, scoring and assisting. And again, good performance from Lee Nichols, which was already mentioned, and Sean Ruan as well. Cal, just a quick one for you then. With Joe Taylor scoring, does that just again say to the manager, I'm here, don't forget about me?
It should do. It should do. Whether it will do, I'm not sure, but it should do. And it's good for him because he'll want that goal to do just that. No footballer wants to sit on the bench or not make the squad at all. No footballer wants to do that. They want to play football. So for himself, he'll have wanted that goal to do just that. Like I say, whether it will is a different story, and we've seen it before now where it hasn't. And you sort of bang your head against the wall, thinking, what has he, ex-player, whoever, got to do to get a run in this team? More recently, it was Kamasha. He's come on, score a belter, and then next game he's out the side, or he's out the side for an extended period of time, and you think, right, what's he going to do to get a start? What's he going to do to get a run of games? What more can he do? So yeah, hopefully, it will be that impetus for Grant to look at his strike force and go, yeah, I'll give him a go.
Thank you very much. Oh, who's got the phone turned on? I heard that one ping. Mark Harrison said a decent performance against Lincoln. Good to see Taylor getting a goal, which he followed up yesterday. So, yes, we are going to come on to that as well. Steve, you've been called out as well. Who made this video title, Lee Grant?
I have to agree, to be fair.
No, listen. Right, listen.
Steve, you can defend yourself very shortly. The title's a title. You can defend yourself very shortly. So I think I know where your argument can come from. Darren, I've seen yours as well. 8 points behind Bradford. The Chickens, they're doing pretty well, aren't they? And Ian, I've seen your.
Nice to see Brad.
Honestly, interrupts, then gets lagging.
It all goes wrong.
Honestly.
I sit here, I'm mild-mannered, I'm quiet, I'm polite. I never say anything out of turn about the podcast, the club, or anyone. Exemplary. That hooligan over there.
Yeah.
Hooligan?
I agree more with you, Cal. I couldn't agree more with you.
And his phantom haircut.
Yeah. And his Dewsbury Rams shirt. Honestly, who does he want to support Huddersfield, though? Is he a football fan or a rugby fan? Honestly, Steve.
Bowls fan, mate. Ground green
the badge behind him, he's only a Town fan in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Okay, right, gents. Let's move on because Blue Terrier said it as well. Scoreline suggests the game was close. In reality, it was anything but that yesterday. So that's maybe where King Chronics is coming from as well. Okay, so yesterday lineup. We've got the result. We know the result. Huddersfield Town lost in Wales 3-2 to Cardiff. And this is how Town lined up. It was Nichols in goal, Sorensen, Lowe, Balker, Ruskin, Harness and Ledson in midfield, Castledine and Wiles are two wide players with Charles and Radulovic up front through the middle. Steve, I'm going to come to you first this time.
Yep.
What did we make of the lineup? Did we feel like it was strong? Was it okay?
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I'm still not sure about this playing like centre midfielders as part-time wingers. I think we're seeing the bad side of that now. We have seen the good side of it at times, but we are also seeing the bad side of why that is not a brilliant system to play. But yeah, I was happy. Harness being back in midfield was all right, although again he played poorly yesterday. But yeah, overall I was happy. I was glad to see Bolker back, also in the lineup, because I knew with how exuberant Cardiff's youth were, they were always going to have a bit of pace and trickery about them. So I didn't think someone like Murray would have been the best player to be starting that game.
Okay, so just to touch on the beginning of that one, Steve, you said the bad part of having central midfielders play out wide. What do you mean by that?
Well, Ben Wiles and Castledine, or Castledine, whichever.
Castledine.
Castledine. I don't think the wingers, and I get why he does it, but they're not wingers, and so it makes us very narrow to play. And actually, Cardiff played a system yesterday where they did go down the wings, and it means that our fullbacks very exposed when they're not on it. So, like, I thought Sorensen did okay yesterday, and I actually thought Ruskin had a bit of a dodgy game. But it just exposes the fullbacks, and particularly if they don't track back well enough, which Ben Wiles was at pains to say in the preview how much he enjoys tracking back. It really makes us sort of like vulnerable in those areas, where I think if you have traditional wingers, they have to get up and down the pitch. So that's my reasoning really came behind it.
Okay, so you're talking about more their fitness and getting up and down.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, positional play as well, Kane. To be fair, like you don't expect a Ben Wiles to bomb down the wing and put a cross in, do you? You know what I mean?
Okay. Whoever's got the phone still on loud needs to sort it out.
It's definitely Cal, not me.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I'm going to come to him as well. It's going to be a fine. It's going to be a fine for you in a moment, Cal. Line up for you. What were your thoughts on it? Happy with it? Do you agree, disagree with Steve on the thoughts of Castledine and Wiles, these two wider players at the moment?
I agree. In that, I thought we were short in that midfield anyway, which allowed pretty much allowed the team to be exposed if we're allowing them to have that much of the ball. If the first 10 minutes for me it sort of said it all, because we sat off them and they kept the ball, and then between Wintle and Kellyman, between them they sort of spearheaded through the middle, which meant that we were immediately exposed. Lowe and Bolker were exposed, and then they moved the ball out wider, and it drags more players in, and then your wingers and your fullbacks are all at sea. And I think that's where we really struggled. Once they'd been pulled away, getting back into those positions and sort of arranging ourselves to defend it with any sort of shape or structure was near impossible.
Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a running theme, not just conversations that we've had, but Dale Mellor just pops up here. Castledine and Wiles out wide didn't work at Luton, so why did Lee Grant think it would work at Cardiff? Also got Blue Terrier. Not a fan of playing Wiles and Castledine as wingers. They don't look comfortable and get exposed as a result of it. So there's quite a few people going with that. It's an interesting one because it for me, when I'm looking at it, when you've got your two central midfielders out wide, as Steve said earlier, it should make you a lot more narrower, allowing your fullbacks to go and be the wider players and go further down the line. But it does leave that bit of a gap. Do you feel as if, Cal, there's becoming a bit of a gap between the attack and the midfield, and then sometimes the midfield and the defence? Are Town getting stretched? Because I thought the first goal for Cardiff essentially came through the middle. There was a lot of space for them. Yeah. And I think that Town made them look... It came a little bit too easy, maybe, that first one.
It did. But you could see it coming. You could see before it happened how the move was going to pan out. And it's because I don't know whether we went into the game thinking, right, these are Manchester City, we're going to give them maximum respect and let them have time on the ball and ponder with it, and they're going to pass it round, and they're going to, they're not going to penetrate if we stick rigid. They're not going to penetrate, and then they do, and you're wondering what to do, and then you are stretched because you're asking players to move. If you look at the way we were set up, if you're asking the fullbacks to move at the same sort of Castledine and Ruskin to move at the same pace together and press, you can't do that because one has to stay further back than the other one, which creates a gap down the middle, which then Kellyman or Wintle will slot into, and then they've got an option, and there's nobody there then to press that player before they can get another pass off. And that's how that first goal happened. We moved forward as a unit that created gaps because there's not enough cover. And they were able to find those gaps and spray the ball. And if you watch the passes that they're playing, they're not little intricate passes. They were spraying it left and right, and the long passes they were able to get off because we weren't in the right places to press them effectively.
Steve, thoughts on top of that from Cal?
Yeah, I agree, really. So a lot of the time, if you watched when we went forward, depending on what side we had the ball on, when we lost it, a lot of the time it ended up with, say, for argument, Ruskin went down the right and he lost the ball. He's then out of position, but because there's no tracking back from, say, Castledine, you've got Harness and Ledson and Bolker and Lowe as a 4, and that's it. And then Cardiff would normally have a 5 on our 4, so there was always a free man. And Cal's right that a lot of the time they could like get in between the lines, spray the ball where they wanted. We have to admit that Cardiff were always going to have the more ball than us, because that's just the nature of a Brian Barry Murphy side. Like that's what he did at Rochdale in League 2 or non-league or wherever he managed them. You know, that's how they played under Brian Barry Murphy, and Cardiff are very much the same. In fact, he's got more technical players to do it at Cardiff. So they were always going to have more of the ball from us, but we never pressed properly. That was the other thing that I noticed, particularly in that 10 minutes. Charles would be absolutely running his backside off, and then there would be nobody backing him up. So Bojan, because it's not his game, wouldn't really go and press hard on the other centre-back. Or, say, Wiles on the right-hand side wouldn't go press the Cardiff fullback to stop Cardiff getting out. And I think that was also part of the problem. So when we didn't get the press right, we also then left ourselves exposed in the fact that Cardiff would always have that one man extra, and that's where the goal came from.
Maybe that's where we were talking about the distance between each unit of where that's coming from. Just a couple of comments to go through. Hi, Cal. That's from Emily. That's the Cal Scott fan club. That makes 2 of us in there now, Cal, for you. Luke says...
I'm not in it.
No, yeah, just it's me and Emily. Luke says, with the lack of wingers at the club, we need to go to a back 5 and utilise our fullbacks as wing backs. Wiles and Castledine don't have the pace or skill set to play out wide. We've also got King Chronics back on. We have a few weak links in the team, but for me, Ryan Ledson is the biggest. He's not a leader or captain, goes missing the whole game. And Mark also agrees with what Luke was saying. I agree with 3 centre-backs and wing-back system idea, which I believe will make us more solid defensively, play to our strengths. So just before we talk about the Castledine beautiful goal, let's just a quick one. Steve, I already know what your thoughts on Ledson. I'm not even going to go through that. Yeah, we're not. But going to a back 5, Luke and Mike Harrison are quite happy with that 3 centre halves. Is that something that you would do, Steve?
Nah, not for me, no, because then I think we lose something in the attacking phase, and we had that last year with Duff, and we know that the fullbacks are not necessarily good enough to be wing backs in the centre. Miller is, but Miller's injured. Sorensen, that's where Sorensen's injuries came from last year, and that's why he was out. And obviously, look how many games he's played this season compared to last season. When he was this season, he's been in the back 4. And Ruskin, I'm not sure about if he's got the discipline to be a wing back. The club need to go buy 3 wingers, really. 3 wingers and a big man. That's what they need, in my opinion. But I know that in a couple of weeks we'll probably talk about more what we need in January. But yeah, back 5, not for me, Cal.
Okay, I mean your big man confuses me because we've got Radolovic. But anyway, we'll come on to that in a few weeks.
A better big man.
All right, okay. Cal, back 5, yeah or nay?
For me, I think Steve's right when he says I think it would defensively make us better, more structure in a 5. However, what are you taking away from somewhere else to make that happen? If you're taking the creativity out of the attack, you lose what may be a benefit of having a back 5, because if your plan is to stop the ball, hoof the ball up to your creative player at the top end, you've lost him because you've used that position to drop into a back 5. So what looking at our side, would you drop someone from the middle? Well, we're already saying we're weak in midfield. So can you do that? Probably not. And obviously, unless you want to have a lone striker and no one in behind him, you are sort of messing with the positions there a little bit that I think we need in order to address other issues. I don't think it's an easy fix at all, this, because whatever you do, whatever the change you make, you're taking away from one to sort of compensate the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, okay. But Blue Terrier says, I thought our defensive structure looked very weak yesterday and not sure the players understood what they needed to do. Now, I'm just going to bring up our neighbours because they've changed their formation over the last couple of games and it's worked extremely well for them, picking up 4 points against last year's champions and last year's Club World Champions. Okay. Now, the reason I'm comparing them is Leeds have now gone to a back 5-3 midfield 2 up front, and it's worked for them because they're now in a league where 80% of the squads are better than theirs, and they aren't controlling games. We're talking about Huddersfield Town in League One, where Huddersfield Town's squad arguably is 80% better, if not more, better than all the other squads in there. But is that do we agree with that?
Yeah.
I don't think that's arguably the case. I think that's obviously the case, or it should be, which is where I think the frustration comes.
Yeah. And I think, maybe I think suggestions like that to change formation, it certainly would take something away, but Town are a team that should be going and dominating these other opposition. And that brings me on to my next point, because you've got players like Leo Castledine, who scored an absolute beautiful goal yet again. And, you might take away some of that freedom and that ability that he's got by changing that. Mark and Luke, I think I have great comments, by the way. Thank you for putting them in. I'm not taking anything away. Football's about opinions, and that's what we love about it. But that might mean Castledine might not get the same opportunities, might not score the same goals that he has done. I mean, to be fair, from the left wing, he scored the one at Exeter. The other goals have been other situations. But let's get back onto the game. Cal, what a set piece and what a finish!
Yeah. I mean, I'll say it now. Gets a bit of help. But if you don't buy a ticket, you don't win the raffle. If you don't have a go, it's not going to go in at all, is it? So fair play for having a crack, and yes, absolutely well worked. Do I think it's going in if it doesn't get a bit of help? Probably not, but that doesn't matter. It's in the back of the net, and we think, right, okay, it's time to sort of start playing some football now, because we've been heavily under the cosh, I think, up to that point. To the point where I was watching thinking, what are we doing? What is this? But that was a nice little moment where you thought, right, let's use it now to lift the side. Bit more heads up and shoulders pinned back, like we saw at Lincoln, according to Lee Grant. Let's play like that.
Steve, did you think the same? Because obviously the second half, Town needed to come out better. They did do that. They got the goal. Don't matter how that goes in, as Carl said, but it goes in. Is there now belief that from that you go, actually, okay, forget about the first half. We're now back at equal terms. Can we get something out of it?
Yeah, I thought. Well, I watched it with my family, and I said to my dad when we scored, I said, "Listen to their crowd already. They were giving away misplaced passes. They'd come out the second half not very good, and we took advantage. And I think when we got the goal, it even cemented my thought process of, if we can get this Cardiff crowd turning on the team, which they have done and they are licensed to do, it's not a crowd that is not easy to turn, if you know what I mean. It is one that if they're not seeing what they expect, they will go after the players, and you could start to see that. And then it's like the other week it's like against Wimbledon, but it's like the opposite way around, because obviously we were at home that day. We just let them off the hook quite often, and it was so frustrating that we didn't, any attack that we did have, we didn't put pay. I mean, we had a few corners in there, and again, I think was it Ledson that headed one over, and I think Bojan headed one over as well that he could have done slightly better with. So we just let them off the hook. But as Cal says, it was, he got a bit of a helping hand. But I like Leo. I think he's a great player. I think he's one of our most creative and dynamic players. I wish he wouldn't be played on the left wing. I wish we'd play him in centre midfield with a strong player beside him, not Mr. Ledson. I actually think Cass would be a great midfield partner for Castledine. I think you give him the license to go forward, and you just say to Cass, look, you just have to mop up and tackle anything that moves. I think that'd be a really dynamic and also fit midfield pairing, because there's been this comment that he can't last more than 60 minutes, and I don't see that myself. Like, I don't understand why we took him off.
Well, Steve, that was going to be my next thing to come on to. I know what you're saying about the 60 minutes, but you're also what we've spoke about so far is Castledine is a central midfielder. He's come out and said it in interviews as well that he prefers to play through the middle. Playing out wide is a completely different role. It's a completely different kind of fitness, completely different kind of running. So having to do that, that's probably why he's been brought off. Now, I did want to come up with that. That was coming on to my next point, but a couple of comments to go through. First, Joe says, good evening, fellas. Joe, good evening. Mark says, Castledine in his own goal of the season, real. Fantastic stuff. Dale also put 4 points from 9 games. The top half teams states something needs to change. Dale, I'm so glad you come on and put comments on like this, because it means all my stats are already written down by you. So thank you so much for them.
I didn't know that. Oh, man.
Carl, we'll come on to it. Dale, at 1-1, we had the momentum. LG should have made attacking subs and then been proactive, but Cardiff made the subs and back in front straight away. That's exactly the point, Dale, I was going to come on to, because Town score, and 8 minutes later, 2 changes are made. A minute later after that, well, pretty much all 3. Cardiff make 3 changes. 2 minutes after that, they score their second in a fairly carbon copy of the first one. A little bit of a chip to the back stick, and it's another headed goal. And Town just looked as if they were looking around going, what should I have done there, Cal?
Yeah. As we say, worth mentioning at the time, it was quite good to see us come out a different side to what we went in at half-time, because we needed a reaction. Worth reminding people that we did not have a single shot on target in the first half. Not one. So, to come out and get the goal, brilliant. But then it took Brian Barry Murphy 8 minutes from our goal for him to figure out what he needed, where he needed it, and who was going to provide it. And then he makes 3 substitutions. Joel Colwell came on and a couple of others. But Colwell specifically, because he was mainly a point of difference in that he brought them something that they didn't have before off the bench that rubbed us up the wrong way. And we were almost back to square one. Because like I say, after making those substitutions, it's 2 minutes. They make the substitutions on 60 minutes, they score on 62. That's effectiveness. Right there, that is an effective use of your substitutes.
And Steve, yeah, I'm going to come on to you as well, because one of them substitutes, Cal, will come back to you as well on your thoughts on it, was Mr. Davies, who went and banged the third goal in as well from the edge of the area with a beautiful, lovely right-footed swinger into the back post.
Yeah, I think when that went in, you kind of thought, well, that's it, it's done now. I mean, it was don't get me wrong, it's a good goal, but from a defensive point of angle and a Town point of view, it wasn't a good goal, because nobody went in to block the effort. Nobody, he ran across the box basically. He did an Ashier, didn't he? He came in and sort of like got across the defence and put the ball in. Like it was just frustrating that again we kind of let a game sort of slip. Now, the scoreline did say it was closer than what the performance did. I agree with that, and the reason I put the title is basically because the scoreline did show it was a close encounter, but in reality it wasn't. The performance, Cardiff did deserve to win the game. We had moments, we had spells where we looked all right, particularly between the two Cardiff goals. The second and third, sorry, and so it's a game where I think Grant has to look back on it and go, he was too reactive. Brian Barry Murphy showed him how to be a manager that can effectively use his substitutions to good effect, and that's exactly what he did, and that's what Cal said. A bit of a change of system, a bit of a new impetus, new skill set on the field, and our subs didn't do that. You take Charles off, you put Taylor on. Did it affect the game? I don't think so. Did Taylor do anything different to what Charles did? No.
He scored.
Them players are on a high.
But bloody hell, Kane, you could have scored that chance that Taylor put in. I mean, I could have 2 yards out from goal, mate. You know what I mean?
Don't be so positive about that, Steve.
Really.
Sorry, Cal, say that again.
Throwing them to Wolves there, Annie, really, because as a manager, what is the expectation when you make a sub 3 minutes after going 2-1 down? You're throwing them players to the Wolves. Because you've taken off Dion Charles, you've taken off Leo Castledine. Castledine at the time was our best creative outlet during the game. He was doing the most creative running. He was looking up, looking for the passes. We take him off. We put Camacho on. I can see the intention, but do it at 1-1. If you're going to do it after the goal. Don't do it after we've conceded again, because these players are coming on against a solid defensive unit that's going to keep trying to defend. So they're banging their heads against the wall. It's so annoying to watch. And that is the nicest and kindest way I can put it. And that took real brain power to make it that nice.
I can imagine. Cal, so then just back to you, mate. When you mentioned that they're throwing the players to the walls when coming on at 2-1 down, what do you think is going through the players' heads at that moment when they get called up from getting warmed up or being told to go warm up or come back, you're going on? What do you think that, let's go through the first two. What do you think Camacho and Joe Taylor are thinking?
Can I give you a politician's answer and answer a different question instead?
No.
Because I know what they're not thinking, and that is, we're going to go in there, turn this round and win this game. Because what they are thinking, or what they could be thinking is, well, all the pressure's on us now to go out and do something. Or they could be thinking, well, there's no pressure on us now because he's made a change, but the result is what it is. We're 2-1 down. So I don't want to think that players are thinking that on 65 minutes with so much of the game left to play. But when they came on, speaking of the game, did you see an impetus from either of them that the tails were up and that they were going to go and win this game? No, you didn't. And that is punctuated by the fact that they score again before we get a goal. And at that point, when that goal goes in, the players are all then thinking, right, it's damage limitation, and I'll just get onto some scraps.
But it also says to me that the instructions are no different. So what did Taylor do any different to what Charles did, apart from harry some defenders? You know, we started to play a lot more long balls seemingly when Taylor went on. I mean, why? You know, some of the long balls weren't even going into Bojan to bring Taylor in. They were literally hit on the side that Taylor was on. You know, he wasn't necessarily going to beat the Cardiff centre backs for pace because they're quite pacey players at the back for Cardiff. I didn't really even get the Bolker substitution, to be honest. I mean, I know he'd taken a couple of knocks, and we kind of jokingly said in the chat, I think it was Cal who said, "Oh no, he's 18 months out," you know, and whatever. But you know, he brought Murray Wallace on, and listen, I like Murray, but the thing with Bolker was he was actually bringing the ball out of defence, creating an extra body in midfield, in a weak midfield, and trying to pass the ball forward. That's not Murray's game. So you've also lost that part of the jigsaw puzzle as well. I just thought he got his subs all wrong. He was very reactive. Brian Barry Murphy played him for a fiddle, and that's it really. And he got a bit schooled by a head coach that's just as young as him, and just as well, he's a little bit more experienced because he's managed at Rochdale. But yeah, I mean, we could have been sat here, couldn't we, with Brian Barry Murphy in charge of us, but we went a different way, and we've got Lee Grant.
Yeah, but we're not sat here like that. So we can't think about that. We've got to go what we are. Okay, so 3-1 down. They get a consolation. Does it make it look a little bit better? Or again, Steve, are the fans, are people that look, obviously people are looking from the outside, go, oh, that must have been a close game. But again, are we talking about fans wanting to see performance? Because, okay, the result wasn't there, but was the performance there? End of the day, if performances come, results come, fans get behind you. But I think maybe that's something that's lacking at the moment, is performance as well.
Well, we didn't see the performance that we saw in the last couple of games. I'm not talking the Wimbledon game. I'm talking about the games that we won, obviously. But, you know, I mean, all week, all we heard was in the press conference and on the preview show that the club do, we're confident. The lads are buzzing. They're absolutely peak confidence in training. It comes to match day, and we didn't see any confidence. In fact, in the first 10 minutes, we saw no confidence. You know, if you go into the top of the league, you've got to stick your chest out and go, right, you know, we know that we've had a bit of a dodgy season so far, but we're coming here and we're going to try and teach you lads a lesson and get our season back up and firing, which we want to do. But we didn't see any of that. And, you know, we end up being underdogs. And, you know, it's kind of it's a sad feeling. Yeah, like I said, the scoreline was closer, but in reality, the game wasn't. I mean, Cardiff could have scored more. We did have chances to score, but their performance was of a team that is looking to go to the Championship. Our performance looked like a club that is trying to hold on to the tails of the playoffs, if not mid-table.
Yeah, Town did still create chances. Cal, pretty much same towards you. Performance-wise, is that what fans want more at the moment? A performance?
Well, a performance brings results. Fans want results. Fans want out of this division. Fans want, and I speak for all of them, as we all know, fans want performances befitting the expectation that has been set by those at the football club. Kevin Nagel's words coming into summer last year was not good enough. Those were his words on social media. You can go and find them if you want. Not good enough. So what have we done differently? We've spent loads of money. We've got a better squad. Are we any better off now? No. Why is that? That's the answer. When you find out why that is, that's the answer.
So what is the expectation, Cal?
The expectation for this side for this season, given the money that's been spent and the bar that's been set, is that we should be not conceding after 5 minutes against this team. We should be in this game from the start to the finish. We should be beating them. And if we're not beating them, we should be having a good go. And we didn't. We conceded after 5 minutes. We were passive, lackluster, reactive, and it's cost us again. And I could stomach that. I could stomach losing to Cardiff. I really could. It's the loss to Cardiff on top of every other bad performance against teams that we have outspent and should be outfighting, given the firepower that we've got, that has just added another notch on top of this mountain of questions. The main question being, what are we doing?
It's a big, big question. Blue Terrier says, wasn't a fan of Grant blaming the players after the game. He really got stuff wrong yesterday, so surely he should be taking some responsibility for himself. I didn't really see much of that one. And this is a big, big name to read out, so I might struggle with this one. See them at Papalpine time.
Give them for a Palpatine. Come on.
I'm dyslexic. Leave me alone. Play 1-3-2. Play Balker in the 6 role or 4 role, depending however you brought up playing that, I'd imagine. Can drop into a back 3 and let the fullbacks attack when in possession. And the three behind the strikers play Castledine, May and Harness. Okay. Right, gents. A couple of games to come up. We can briefly talk about them. We know what our expectations are, what we want. We've got Northampton on Tuesday away. That's a 7:45 kickoff, and then at home to Wigan, early kickoff at 12:30. The aim for both of them games is to get 3 points, is to win. Everyone on the comments who's viewing, put in your predictions for them. We'll come on to them very shortly. Mark, I've also got a comment from you right at the beginning. That'll be coming to a little bit later on. So thanks for putting that in there as well, by the way. So Town lose after winning against Lincoln in the Cup. So we've had the draw at home to Wimbledon, which were disappointing, but we showed character to keep coming back into it. But the argument would be, should Town be losing to Wimbledon at home? To go to the Cup, they win the game. I believe that Town should be doing that. It's a fairly strong side. Go to Cardiff, lose that one, can stomach it if the performance is there, but it isn't. So what is it that we're lacking? Is there some kind of direction here, Cal? What do Huddersfield Town see themselves as?
Aha! Wow, you bring me very nicely onto an exchange of views that's happened across the HTFC social media hashtag this weekend, mainly on X. The Carmichael Dave, I'm going to mention it and his name because he's got the town in the bio. The HTFC advisor is in his bio, right? Which shows me and everybody else that he's affiliated to the club. Whether you know what he actually does and what he doesn't is fine. It's been clarified that he is the PR man for Kevin Nagel, not the football club. Fine. And legally, I have to mention that. However, to an outsider looking in, his bio says HTAFC advisor. So if you didn't know, you would assume that he is something to do with the upper echelons of the football club. So he's had an interaction where somebody has put tongue-in-cheek, not a day for the underdogs. Hey, Dave. And he's put, no, unfortunately not. Somebody's then replied, how can you say that we are the underdogs? Stop acting as if we are the underdogs. We've spent loads of money, signed high quality, like high caliber players. We were tipped to win the league. Act like it and call it what it is, basically. And he's replied, we were literally the underdogs today. And this has rubbed a whole lot of people up the wrong way, including myself.
I can tell.
Good. It is symptomatic of a problem we've had since the days of when we were the underdog in the Premier League. And we were, and that was a very good marketing tactic and excellent and brilliant. And then we've just held on to this moniker for years, and our quality level has been here, and the league quality level has been here, and then slowly, as we've dropped down the leagues, the quality has leveled out. And now we're in a position where our quality is here, and the league quality is here. Yet we are still calling ourselves the underdogs because it's what we've always done. It's a good little moniker to have. A terrier is a dog, so it works. But we're not. And the mindset should never be in this league, in League One, as Huddersfield Town, a team that was recently relegated from the Championship and more recent, like has a recent time in the Premier League, that we are the underdogs in any game because of the money spent, the players we've got. You want to turn around to Alfie May and say, you're an underdog in this league, despite the fact that you've got a brilliant scoring pedigree at this level, were touted as one of the most dangerous strikers in the division before we signed you. You've come to this football club and now you fly under the radar. You're just not very good, but you'll pop up with a few. I'm sorry, it doesn't wash. And if this is coming from those at the very top, then it's symptomatic of the culture at the club, and that's probably why, and maybe why, we're in the position that we're in. Because nobody is calling it how it is and saying that it's disappointing and saying that it's unacceptable that we are where we are. Nobody is saying that across every facet, and also, you know, across different branches of the media, which I shan't mention, but it is symptomatic of a culture, basically. And now I'm going to breathe.
Okay. Steve?
I think when I think of an underdog, I think of an FA Cup game. So, like when Alan Lee scored against Arsenal when we were last in League One, that's an underdog. Not against a team we were expected to be battling for at the top of the league with, in the top two. You know, Luton fans would say exactly the same. But, would they call themselves an underdog in this division? I don't believe so. You know, Tuesday, when we go to play Northampton, are we an underdog? Absolutely not. Everybody's expecting us to go to Northampton and win. Now, anything can happen in this division, and we've seen that. I think it's a worrying statement to make and then to try and back it up. And I'd like to see us move away from the underdog sort of moniker, as it were, because we're not an underdog in this division. We're below expectation right now. And, you know, it was said a month or two ago in the video by Kevin Nagel that things need to improve. And he was quite open with that, and that was fair play to him. But that also then needs to be translated by other people that are involved within the football club to say, look, we're all on the same message. Because otherwise, if you start giving mixed messages at the top, that only seeps down to the troops at the bottom, whether that's the players, staff members, or even volunteers, depending on what your state of your business is. So for me, it needs to, that needs to go. And we need to be starting to realise what the expectations of the fan base actually is, and whether people say, oh, they're too high. End of the day, we spent a lot of money in that summer transfer window, bought a lot of players in that are worth a lot of money. I tell you what, it'd be really interesting, and I know we've got to wrap up the podcast very soon, but I think it will be really interesting to get supporters' views on this. Take this League One team now, in its current state, and pitch it against the League One team that Simon Grayson got promoted in 2012. I bet you now, 9 times out of 10, that League One team beats this League One team. And this League One team is a lot better, skilled, dynamic, and has more footballing ability in its entirety in this team than what that team had. And yet I think that team will beat this team 9 times out of 10. And that's because a culture was built back then, whether you agree with Dino or not. A culture was built back then of we're going to go and be promoted out of this division, go into the Championship and be a team that Huddersfield Town should be represented in a league, and that's not happening at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on, I'd like us to start seriously running a football club. Get off social media, get off Twitter, stop arguing with fans, and start seriously running a football club like you want to win. Get people in that know what they're doing, instead of ad hocing it at the start of the year, going, well, we'll see, I think this will work. Then we get to this point and we're reactive again. In the same way we're reactive on the pitch, we're reactive in the boardroom.
Okay, well, this is the point I'm going to come make after I read this out from Mark. With Cardiff top, they were favourites going into the game. Underdog was the wrong term to use. Chris Markham's in as a sporting director now. Okay, some people didn't want it, some people did. Everyone has a different opinion about it, but we spoke about. Well, I know, so I certainly have, and then last week and weeks before, philosophy, identity, who Huddersfield Town are. This has come in conversations throughout our podcast over the last year or so. This is what sporting directors are going to do. We're going to see something, or we should start to see something soon for what that is, right, Cal?
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, look, we can all say that we don't like what people said, or we don't like this, or we do like this, and we like that, but we don't like that. This here, there, and everywhere, and again, everyone has loads of different opinions on it because that's the beauty of football, because it's just an opinion. But we now have a sporting director who has to be aware of everything and needs to input his ideas, his identity into the football club. And Steve, how long do you think it needs to be until we start seeing that? How long do you think it could take?
I think probably it will take until the summer, won't it? Let's be honest. But the good thing about bringing Chris in is because of his allegiances to the club, being a fan of the club for many years, and his family apparently are fans of the club. He'll be very, very aware of what the fan base think and what we expect, and how to go about doing it. And I think that's why he's a good appointment, because he will know exactly what the club needs and what the team needs right now, and he'll be fed feedback by even his own family members about what they think should happen, which is, I think, a lot of the time most fans tend to agree, what's happening at the club right now. So yeah, listen, I think it will take about 6 months. I don't think he'll have much of a stamp on it in January. I'd be surprised, but let's hope by the time the summer comes, depending on if we're still in this division or whatever, he can properly stamp a style, like you've said, Kane, and a structure and a proper philosophy on the football club, because it's been it has been rudderless for at least 2 years.
Cal, same question to you. What do you want to see? How long do you think it'll take to start seeing it?
How long I think it will take is the same as Steve. I think it'll be summer. How quickly it needs to take effect is January, because we need to get out of this division. And I put a tweet out at the weekend saying, what is Nagel's return on investment here? Because we've made good strides off the pitch, and I hold my hands up and say that is brilliant things that we've done there, and important things that we've done for the club. The having the ground, having the land around the ground, brilliant. New scoreboard, all brilliant things for the club. But it counts for naught if we're still in League One, because we are losing money and the crowds are getting lower, and the fans that are there are getting more and more listless and restless. So it needs to be a quick fix, which is a dangerous thing to do in football, but it needs to be a quick fix, because another season in League One will be an admission of failure from those at the very top of the football club. We were told in the summer just gone, it will not happen again. We would have Nagel's money, time, and whatever else he said. He spent the money and he spent the time, and so far it still isn't good enough. So what comes next?
Well, what does come next? 2 games this week, one away at Northampton and one at home to Wigan. Thank you very much, Cal. I know you did appreciate that one. Blue Terrier, he's got his prediction in, so thank you very much for that one. He's gone Northampton 1, Huddersfield Town 0, and then 1 apiece at home to Wigan. It is a 12:30 kickoff, I believe, so I better make sure I get up nice and early for that one on Saturday. Any other comments and prediction would be great. We'll see if we can get them out very quickly. Cal, back to you. Your prediction for Tuesday, please, my friend.
Tuesday, I am going with Northampton Town 2, Huddersfield Town 1.
Okay. Steve, Northampton game, please.
Northampton 2, Huddersfield 0.
Okay. Steve, back to you for the Wigan game.
Town 2, Wigan 1.
Okay, we've got a victory at home. Cal.
Huddersfield Town 1, Wigan 3.
A lot of 3-1s going about recently. Cal, you might just be on the money, but I might go Huddersfield Town 3, Wigan 1. I might do that same for Tuesday night. Okay, no other comments have come in terms of predictions, so go back to this one from Mark. First one, if you want some Christmas gifts, the Town defending will offer some. Steve, Mark, let's hope that changes and Town start giving out oranges and coal rather than goals this coming festive season. Dale goes Northampton Town 1, Huddersfield Town 1, another 1-1 draw as well against Wigan. Well, gentlemen, I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you for joining me and joining us and everybody in the comments as well. You know the score. Like, share, subscribe. You've already put your comments in. They've been fantastic. Have a lovely week. And until next week, I was just about to, but someone had changed my outro video. So luckily, I've just changed it. So until then, let's say they. Oh, we will do in a minute anyway.